you and welcome to the show today. The topic today is a profile on John J. Hooker, the gubernatorial Democratic candidate. And Mr. Hooker, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
Doctor, I'm delighted to be here with you.
You know, Mr. Hooker, I think that there are so many things that we'd like to talk to you about. And you've been involved in Tennessee politics for such a long time, and you've made such a contribution to Tennessee politics. What we'd like to do today is to not only talk about your candidacy, but we'd like to talk about John J. Hooker, to have you during the first part of this show to talk about, in any way you wish to do, so to talk about your background, your education, and some of the things that got you involved in Tennessee politics and some of the positions that you've held and some of the personnel. It's that kind of interview, that is to give our audience an opportunity to see you. And let's do that from that perspective this morning.
That's great. Well, I'm 68 years old. I'm a lawyer by trade. I have been in several different businesses in my life. I spent a good deal of time practicing law. And then I've been an entrepreneur. I had a business called Many Pearls Chicken, which was a copy of Kentucky Fried Chicken in the mid-60s. I was one of the founders of Hospital Corporation of America. I was chairman of the board of STP. I was the chairman of the board of United Press International, the worldwide news agency. I was the publisher of the Banner. And I've been in other businesses. So I've had a long life so far, 68 years old. And I've been in many different businesses. I like business. I like being an entrepreneur. I like capitalism. But I also like freedom.
Good.
When I was a young person, my father used to talk to me about the fact that we live in a free, capitalistic society. And one of the problems that we have is that we sometimes don't understand that there's a hyphen between those two, and that there is the need for freedom that's addition to capitalism. That is the problem we have in America today, is that our political system is squelching the freedom in favor of the person who is able to give campaign contributions, and whereas the other person who can't. So I'm a capitalist at heart, but I'm also a man who deeply believes in freedom. So in addition to business and the law, I got my start in the law with my father, who was a very distinguished lawyer. There are many people, I'm sure, who listen to this show today who can remember my father. He died in 1970, but he was a really very, very able man and very popular among the lawyers. He was a lawyer's lawyer. He was the man who prosecuted Jimmy Hoffa, the Hoffa Penitentiary. But he also had a wide variety of law practice, all sorts of criminal cases and damage suits and constitutional cases. He had a great life and a great practice. I got started in the law business in 1957, and in 1958 the governor hired me along with a more distinguished lawyer, an older gentleman named Jack Norman, and we got involved in the Schoolfield impeachment trial in 1958. And that was the beginning of my interest in public life and interest of the public officials honoring their commitment and honoring their oaths. And there was a judge in Chattanooga, Tennessee, who had taken an $18,000 bribe, which he had claimed was a campaign contribution. And so the governor of Tennessee, a very distinguished governor by the name of Frank Clement, got Jack Norman Sr., and he got me involved in the case. The truth about it is, the reason that I got to get in the case at such a young age was that my father was friendly with Judge Schoolfield, in the sense that they had gone to school together. And Jack Norman and my father were great contemporaries, and Mr. Norman was afraid that my father was going to defend the judge.
And so he put his son.
In order to keep my father from defending the judge, he took me into the case, which was a great break for me. But it got me my start. And in that case, in 1958, Bobby Kennedy came down and testified in the Schoolfield impeachment trial because it involved a bribe, and it involved a public official, and it involved the Teamster Union. And the McClellan Committee was then very much in power and in vogue in Washington. Senator McClellan from Arkansas, and Bobby was the general counsel of that committee. Came down, testified.